So in this video, I'm going to work a little bit with diagrams in my Google slide presentation. So you can see I already have a generic slide presentation made with a random title page. I'm going to give myself a nice blank slide by going to my plus to add a slide, clicking on the down arrow and selecting blank. That'll give me this blank canvas. And from here, I'm going to add in a diagram. To do that, I'm going to go over to the Insert menu, click on that, and then I have diagram here. Now this will pull up my different types of diagrams. So you can see I have a hierarchy, which has kind of the bubbles, the flowchart type thing. There's a timeline in here, a process, a relationship, and a cycle. Now each one of these options, also if you click on it, it'll give you some sub options. So in this case I'm in relationship, and you see here I have a Venn diagram. At the top, you can select the number of areas you have. So if I do 3, you can see this Venn diagram that has 3 bubbles. You know, if I change it here to 4, you can see this one at the bottom with the boxes with the arrows. You know, the greater than or less than, I guess, boxes you can call them. There's 4 of them now. And that's pretty typical for all of the different options you look at. So for here, for my timelines, if I go up to 6, now I have 6 boxes for those dates. If I go back and I do my process, and I bump that up to 4. See, the circle now has 4. This pyramid has 4. Okay? So in this case, I'm going to just go to my hierarchy, and I'll take a quick look through. I have only these different charts I can do. I'm just going to select the one at the top. I could do up to 5 levels, but I'm going to keep it at 3 to keep it simple. And then I'm going to exit out just to give myself a little more room. So what all these different types of diagrams have in common is that they're basic templates. So with these templates, I can change most items within the template. So for example, any place where there's a text box, I can add my own information. Okay? And I could do that again with the sub boxes, just by double clicking in there, getting in there, and putting in section 1, for example. Okay? So for these sections 2, you can see I can highlight parts of them or click on single parts of them. Whenever I do that, I can then have access to the other tools in my toolbar. So for example, this sub-level here, I may go in and say, well, I want the lines a little bit thicker for it, and I want to change the color to this kind of, let's see if I can get a good color for the boxes, this kind of purplish color. Okay, so you can see how that kind of pops a bit. And then I could say for this box here, I want to change the color so it's an orange. I want to get into where my font is. I want to pick a different font. So I'll do that one and make it size 14. I could even make it bold. I could change the text color. So if I want that kind of a gray, I know that's kind of hard to read, but you get the idea. The boxes themselves too can be dragged and resized and moved. Depending on how the artifact is set up, it may behave differently in terms of how these different sections act. So for example, I'm going to go and add another blank slide. I'm going to insert in diagram. I'm going to insert a timeline. I'll keep it at 4. Going through, I'll just pick the one at the top and close to give myself some more real estate. So you can see, just like with my flowchart here, are these text fields that I can add information in. So this happened. I could add details here. I could add the date. So 1987, I'm sure something happened that day. But unlike the diagram here, where you have these lines that kind of connect things together, for here, these are just separate sections. So I could take it apart and stagger, use my arrow keys, for example, if for some reason I wanted these staggered like that, just for a different visual, I could do that. But like with the other diagram, I still have the option where I can change, line weight. I could go in and change, my font size. I could change my font color. I can also click in these different sections and change like the color just for the pieces. So I could do like a red and blue line. So that's kind of the basics of how these work. The best way to get used to them is once you know the basics, to go in there and play around. So if you want to see what the process one looks like, you can grab the pyramid and say, well, what can I do with it? Can I change the colors? Oh yeah, I could kind of change it like a pause, or maybe on the top I want it a green for go, right? And then you kind of give like a yellow or stop and change the text here. So hopefully that gives you just enough to get started looking at the diagrams, and folks can find this to be a valuable tool both for yourself and for students for spicing up your presentations.